back to Real Talk with your host, Jordyn.
Hello, it is Jordyn and welcome back to Real Talk with Jordyn. I hope everyone is having an amazing day so far. Well, I guess you can say evening. So I'm so excited to be here with you guys today. This is my second show so far on Golden Sky Radio with Real Talk with Jordyn. So we're going to get into basics today a little bit more. And I'm going to share my experience with getting bullied. I'm going to talk about the coping strategies and what I felt during it all. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Make sure that you guys follow our social medias. We have an Instagram, TikTok, and a Facebook, all at Golden Sky Radio. Also, if you guys have been hearing a little bit of promos replaying and things going on in the radio station and stuff, I'm slowly getting that figured out on why that's happening. So please bear with me. If you guys, see that, just get off it for a little bit and maybe rejoin. I don't know why that's happening at all, but it's a learning process and I'm still getting used to Life 365 as well. So please bear with me. I'm really trying here and it's very stressful, but yeah, I just want to say that as well. And we actually have a podcast coming, Inner Champions, that will be starting next week on a Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday. I'm trying to make sure I know. At 4:30 EST. So make sure that you guys go give that a listen. I actually am really excited for this one. I have known the person who's doing this doing this podcast, and he's really amazing and he has been through a lot, and so I'm really excited to see him grow with us, and I'm excited to grow and see how his feedback, like all the feedback, is with his show. So that is going to be next Wednesday. The shows this week are going to be on Friday. So we have an 80s and 90s wave that's from 7 o'clock Eastern time to about 8 o'clock, 8:39. And then we also, I switched my country show to being 5 o'clock Eastern time, only because I felt like 10 p.m. was too late, and I wanted to be able to, for everyone to listen to it. So I changed it like on the spot last week. I was like 5 o'clock. So I just wanted to share that as well, that my country show will be on Fridays at 5 o'clock instead of 10 p.m. But yeah, so let's get started. So with my bullying experience, it's literally how I started this podcast. I got bullied like pretty bad. I would say like it really started my freshman year of high school. I've gotten bullied like 6th grade and all those too, but obviously, when you're young like that, I can't really remember a lot of it. I mean, I do remember some of it, and it's horrible. But, so, freshman year of high school, I was that kid that I feel like I was kind of like a late bloomer, like I was more of like, I felt, I was still like, wasn't as mature as most of people were as freshman year, and I had a really hard time with learning. I actually have a learning disability. It's called an IEP, and it's just something that I've had for like my whole lifetime, and I just had to go in smaller group classes in high school, and I couldn't be in big classes. So because that's not how I learned. I learned more of like the slower pace, which is fine. I mean, it's no big deal. I didn't care. It helped me out, so of course I didn't mind it. But obviously, for other people, it was not normal because they weren't in that. They went to bigger classes. They had more work to do. They had more deadlines done. Me, it was kind of, I had more of like a restriction on what I can and cannot do. So basically, my freshman year, I started to experience anxiety a lot worse. I would start panicking during classes. Mind you, that year, I got my Instagram hacked with some inappropriate pictures someone found online. The hacker found inappropriate pictures online and sent them to my dance teachers, my dance friends in school that I barely had. And I also was with a very toxic friend group who did not like me at all, who would do things without me, who made a whole group chat without me. All that petty shit. And it was just like not fun. And of course, back then I was a lot more sensitive and a lot more like, oh my God, what am I doing wrong? Like, I have to people please these people. I don't have friends. And it was really rough for me to find friends for basically from freshman year. It was just really hard. I didn't have any of my other friends. All my other friends were down still at the middle school, so they were in 8th grade, and I was like by myself basically in freshman year. So it was rough. So I mostly had kids bully me. It was mostly all boys, some girls. So, but boys I don't know what's worse, girls or boys. I can't tell you which one is worse with getting bullied. It was just really bad. It was a really bad experience, of course. And I did not want that to be my first year of high school experience. I was going in with an open mind and thought that I was going to be okay. And obviously, no. So I started panicking in classes. I started seeing myself like not want to go to school. I had a lot of truancies. I'm not going to lie to you in high school because I just hated going to school. It gave me anxiety. I didn't want to go through that hate, and I did not want to go through, like, I was already traumatized enough. So basically, after my Instagram got hacked, everyone thought that was actually my body. And I actually had boys not only come up to me, but they were also texting me like, hey, like, your nice is super good, like all this stuff. And I'm like, that's not me. I got hacked, and they wouldn't even believe me. They would just play it off and basically say, oh no, like, we know, like, it was I'm like, no, like, actually it was not. So I actually got hacked on Snapchat and Instagram. And it was the worst time of my life because I was in panic mode. That it was really scary for me, and I hate that. I hate getting hacked on anything. And I think what it did just make everything worse. We were already on Christmas break and I loved it. I was that type of person. If you don't mess with me, like, I'm chilling, And I was that quiet kid, I was, and a lot of rumors were getting spread about me on the daily with no reason. I didn't do any of the stuff, but, to other people, I was that odd one out. And I was that odd one out, and I had dreams, and I thought that they were going to come true. I thought I was going to be a social media influencer, and I was a young age, and I just wanted to do that, and I wanted to really pursue that. And I started at a young age. I did TikTok. I had a few followers on TikTok, I'm not going to lie. Were they big, like, to, like, 10K? No. I had about, like, 4,000, 5,000 people following me, and I loved it. So basically, I got bullied for that. I got bullied for the TikToks. I made a YouTube channel as well, of course, and I started having girls come up to me and like be like, "Oh my God, we love it so much," and all this stuff. But it wasn't. I thought they were being nice about it, but they weren't. They were actually being like bitches. They were just basically trying to find something to say to me because they thought it was funny. So basically, after that happened, I was there like all seven periods at the time, and I would have lunch either in the bathroom or I would go to a teacher's room, and that's how I ate lunch. I did not like going in the cafeteria, and I didn't like going to the cafeteria because I had no friends to sit with. And that was really hard for me. I saw everyone and have friends and getting along and all, and I was sitting by myself at lunch. Or I was sitting in the bathroom eating and I would talk to my aunt or my uncle. Or I was just chilling chilling in my teacher's room. And basically after that freshman year, it was really, really bad. I was going to maybe the counselor's office weekly, like every day. I hated it. And so basically they had to put me with another counselor who had more of like the support that could really help me. So I started going to her, and that lessened and helped my anxiety. I was on anxiety logs. I like had to do all this stuff to get back to me. Yeah, it was crazy. So then freshman year I decided that I was going to interview for the next year, sophomore year, to be a cosmetologist. So I went to cosmetology Votech, and it's like a technical school if you guys don't know. So I started that sophomore year, and I loved it so much. I did have friends, like they're amazing. I was like the baby, I looked really, really young. I had braces, and I was just mid-peak. I did not look my best, okay? And I had friends, but the girls just like, they would have so much drama. Like, so much drama for, like, no reason. Like, they were so petty. That's the only thing I didn't like. But what it did was I felt that escape from going to be at my school, like my high school, for 7 periods, and I got to do something different. So I think that's the only thing that I really loved was switching up my environments. I'm never good at one environment for too long. And I still do that now. I travel all the time. I go down the shore. I go to my boyfriend's house. We go out. So, I need that. I love that. I just don't like being in one scenery for so long. And I've always been like that too. So, basically, I did VOTEC, and we sadly had to go like sophomore year at the end, I would say, of sophomore year. It was COVID. COVID happened, so we were all online. So, whatever. I loved it. I loved it. I loved staying home. I didn't have to be with anyone, whatever. Junior year, I actually was homeschooled. So I was still with them, but I didn't go back to school at all. I didn't do no hybrid. I didn't do any of that. I just went to work from my room, which was really great. I had all A's and all honor rolls when I was working, or not working, from like doing school at my house. So I really, really enjoyed that as well. And it really helped me because I was in an environment where, I got my work done and I was learning, and it was really fun. I mean, I really loved doing school from home. Then I went to senior year, and I actually had to go to summer school. And summer school wasn't for needing help on some stuff. It was just for my credits. So I had to do a lot more credits. So I did everything online. And I'm pretty sure I did most of all my credits that summer. And then I had one more to do. And I did that, and I got done my credits. So I did the online stuff, and I went actually back to school for summer school, which I hated already. And I was like, oh my God, who the hell's going to be in here? I already struggle enough. So I was nervous, but I only went for, I went after I came back from vacation, and I did that as well. And then after summer school, trying to think. And then it was senior year. And senior year was probably the best year of high school. I feel like junior year I still went through the hate but cyber, oh my God. I got, social medias and stuff. It was still happening, and it was still happening in sophomore year. It just wasn't as bad. And then we got to senior year, and I was also in early childhood education, which and it's still VOTEC. I just didn't I didn't do cosmetology. So I thought, because I always wanted to be a teacher when I grew up. And I always, when I was little, I would always have teacher stuff. I had to teach my dad. I had everything, to the whiteboard, to the teacher achievement stuff they gave everyone out. It was crazy. I absolutely loved being a teacher, pretending. And that's what I thought I was going to do with my life. But I went from junior year to senior year with early childhood at VOTEC, and I met my greatest best friend, Kenzie, now, and that was the best experience ever. I loved the teacher. I got along with everyone. I could be myself. I didn't have to be someone else, and that's when I started not giving a fuck. Sorry, but that's when I started not giving an F. I didn't care. I did not care. I did not... Nope, I had no filter, and what happened is, I started having to be this person that is putting a face, a front, and I had to start faking a lot. And I faked a lot in freshman year, which is really bad. And I do not condone that. Don't fake anxiety or being sad. Don't do that to yourself, because it didn't do me justice. But so basically after that senior year, I did all of that, and I basically had to have an RBF on my face, everywhere I went, school or VOTEC, just for people to understand, don't F around with me, type vibe. So after that happened, no one really started bothering me anymore. I started sticking up for myself a lot more. I started having comebacks for my bullies, and I just didn't care. So yeah, that's basically how it went for high school. But it also comes down to, certain little things as well. That's probably, you're oh my God, that's not a bad bullying experience. But in the world it was for me, And it still is. It still bothers me that I let it bother me. But I would get called so many names, like, there's like train tracks on your teeth because I had braces. I was constantly getting bullied by my looks, by my outfit, by my sneakers. And I could never catch a break. And it was just getting to the point where it's like, oh my God, like I literally told my dad, I said, Dad, can you please send me to a different school? Like I cannot do this anymore. So we didn't, obviously. We couldn't really find anything that was really good. So basically, I just stayed where I stayed. And freshman year, I lived out the hell. Sophomore year, got a little bit better because I had VOTEC. And also, most of my friends were coming up. I met my best friend sophomore year, and I'm still best friends with both of them till this day. So it was really nice to have friends, and they didn't care that they were seen with me. And it made me feel a lot better. And so after sophomore year, it kind of just went a little bit more smoothly because no one saw me in school because I was only there in the morning for 4 periods. I had 1 period as reading, 2nd period as study hall, 3rd period as like chemistry, and 4th period as something else. And basically that really helped me. And so my bullies never really got to see me anymore. And I don't think they really like that. So, of course, they'd go on my Instagram. They'd text me, give any chance to just give them, they wanted me to give them a response, and I didn't. And so after that all happened, I got done high school, and I graduated, and I cried that day because I was so relieved that I was done. I hated school as it was. I hated the work. I hated math. I hated all of it. I hated my teachers. Not hated, but I did not like my teachers. And so when I graduated, I felt like there was a whole, like, this relief, for so long, for 4 years, I've dealt with so much hate and so much getting, hated towards, and a lot of drama and people starting drama. I remember when I was walking, or I was scared to walk around the corner because these girls wanted to jump me. Like, stuff like that is what was going on. And, of course, there are going to be boys that are like, this, and this, because they always say, like, oh, my God, they actually, like you, whatever. No, like, this was bad. So I remember this one time, one of the boys that really bothered me and made fun of me the most. I was coming back up to lunch. I ordered lunch, and I was coming back up to my teacher's room. My teacher wasn't in there. It was, like, pitch black. So, like, pitch black dark. And me and my other friend were coming up at the time. And so we were just waiting there, and like we literally got to the door to look, and then the guy jumped out. Kid you not, like literally popped out from the door. It's dark as shit, and all you see is his face. We screamed, okay? We screamed so damn loud. All the teachers came out, and they're like, "What's happened? Like, are you okay?" And I'm like, yeah, like Jason just scared us. Oh, I'm going to call him that. It's not really his name. And we were like, what? Like, he was like, they were like, oh my God, like, So he got in a lot of trouble. A lot of trouble. But, yeah, that's basically how, like, the shit that would happen. So then after that, I'm going to go back to a little bit of a 6th grade, 8th grade, and 6th, 7th, 8th grade. I also had really bad, too, bullies. Bullies, of course, but I couldn't, I was walking out of I was actually having, like, really bad behavior issues because of it. No one was helping me. We've had asked my teachers, we talked to the principal, we talked to the administrator, like, everything to try to get these, like, bullies, like, tamed, and they did not do nothing for me. They didn't do nothing. And it's so frustrating when you get denied like that, especially when you have such a big thing going on and you have to go to this place all day and you have to deal with just torture. It was pure torture for me. And it was just something that I just couldn't handle. And so I would walk out of class, they were like, okay, you can go to the office if you're going to walk out of class. I said, okay. And I marched down and I told them why. So I'm leaving the class because of this. And you guys aren't doing anything to help me or get through it. Or tell these other I'll tell them, So, yeah, with how I was feeling, I, definitely probably had a panic disorder. I was panicking. Like, my body would just shut down. I couldn't feel myself. Like, my vision would go so, black because I just would work myself up so much. So grateful for the teacher that helped me and got me situated and stuff. So that's basically a lot of my bullying experience and what I've had to go through. And obviously there's more, but there's so much little detail into it. And I don't want to just, keep yapping about that because we have more things to talk about. And how I felt during the time that this is all happening, I was definitely depressed. I was upset. I was anxious. I was just not confident in myself. I didn't care. And I just had a hard time, but I was never going to give up. And how I coped, there's a lot of strategies that I do now and that I did before. One thing that I started doing probably freshman year is actually journaling. I would journal in my notebook, or actually I would journal in my notes on my phone. And I would just put everything down, like what's bothering me, and it would be a whole paragraph, like probably almost 2 pages worth of just feelings. And that's one way that really did help me. I felt like I was reading my own story or like a book. But what happened is why I liked it so much is because I could talk about it on the notes and then just leave it go, and I didn't have to keep it in my head any longer or dwell over it or think that I was in the wrong when I'm not. So that kind of really helped me, and I still stick with it to this day. I actually wrote a poem about anxiety my senior year, and we actually put it in a poem thing. Obviously, I didn't win, but it was pretty good, they said. So, yeah. But I journal. Journaling is one thing that will really, really help you. Self-care, anything with self-care, taking a shower, doing something for yourself, and taking care of yourself. So I had to do a lot of that. And one self-care, it was dance. Dance saved my life, and I will always say that. If I didn't have dance and my dance friends and the teachers or anything, I don't think I would have came out of this. So dance was one of my biggest blessings during this time. I was able to dance out all the frustration. I was there to move my body and, flow with the music as well. So that's one thing I would say that is just, it was so powerful and like helped me out a lot. So, like I said, if I didn't have dance, I don't know where the hell I'd be. But also, I would do the five senses: what you see, what you smell, what you taste, what you hear, and what you feel. So that's this five sentence. It's like what I said about last week about grounding yourself. Ask yourself in your head, well, what can I see? Oh, I see this. What can I smell? Oh, I smell a candle, or I smell food. What can I touch? What can I feel? And stuff like that. And it really does help you. And what actually helped me is that when your hands or like your fingers touch something like in like a different texture, like say you had a stress ball, and it would really help your mind get out of that like bad place with your anxiety. And I've tried that, and it does really, really work, and I still do it to this day too. I actually have a therapist as well. I have actually trauma from getting bullied, and so I go there, and I actually still have issues with what are people going to think about me. Sometimes that does happen to me, and sometimes I feel like, sometimes I get the feelings back, but it's not as bad as it used to be. But I love my therapist; she's amazing, and she's done so much for me, and really helped me out, and she's doing amazing. So yeah, that's one thing. Therapist is usually really good, talking to someone, mom, dad, sister, brother, best friend, anyone that will just sit there and just listen to you. That helps as well. I'm glad I had my friends that I did to help me through that. I would say that journaling was my top biggest one. That was the helpfulest, like the helpfulest. I don't even think it's a word. It was more helpful. And I think that also the five senses as well. I also ground myself in my head by asking me like, hey, like, what's your name? What's your last name? What's your middle name? What's your birthday? What are you doing? What do you see? Like stuff like that, because grounding yourself is just such a good way as well. That's something I learned. Grounding myself was like, it was very much relief. And also, music is my biggest one. I love music, have anxiety, listening to music. I just always listen to music. I just love music. I'm a music girly. I love it so much, and I just know so much about it. So that's also why music was always in my ears during high school. I would wear my AirPods, and I would just put my like hair in between so no one could see that I actually had my AirPods in, and I would just that's how I got through the hallways. If I didn't have music, then I don't know how I would be getting through the hallways. So that's another one as well. But yeah, that's about it so far. That's what I've kind of learned and what I did to help me get through the moment of me panicking and in classrooms. I did not like history. History gave me a lot of anxiety because I hated it, for one thing. Second of all, I sucked at it. I could not remember anything, and I just did not like it. So of course, if I don't like something, I'm not going to pursue it. And that's one thing about me. I didn't like that class, so I didn't do it. It sucks. And like my best friend, Alyssa, who I've been best friends with for so long, actually for bio and chem would help me out because she would like basically have to do my work because my brain could not understand what the hell I was learning. And the teacher literally was like, "You need to stop missing class." And I was like, "Yeah, I know." I was like, it just triggers my anxiety because I feel stupid and I feel that I can't do this. And she was like, well, we're going to do it. And we're going to sit you with Alyssa so she can help you out. So she was my rock during those times when I really needed it. And yeah, with everything going on with confidence, yes, of course I felt stupid. I felt like, oh my God, I'm in this awful class. I'm the stupidest person you'll ever meet. And that's what I thought as well. And that's never what you want to do. And I'm actually very thankful I had an IEP because it got me out of a lot. Learning a different language, learning, different things. Also being able to have deadlines. All the teachers had to accommodate to me to help me learn. So that's something that really helped me out. And that's what I got through. And that's just a little bit about my story as well. I've been through a hell of a lot more. But that's a little bit part of my bullying and what I did and how I did it. And basically, reason why how I started this podcast, I want to be a voice for people who can't be voices for themselves because I was that little girl that was stuck and I couldn't talk. I couldn't do anything. And I hate that. And I want to be that girl to put my voice out there and talk about the issues that I've gone through and still have to this day just to help me out just a little bit more. So, yeah. That's basically all for Real Talk with Jordyn today. I hope everyone enjoyed the show. I'm glad that I was able to come on here and, I was able to talk to you about my experience and what everything was like for me. And like I said, you'll learn me a lot better once I start doing more of these shows. I will be back next Tuesday at the same time. And I'm super excited. I'll be back at 6 p.m. EST. Thank you so much for everyone who's emailing me about feedback about this show already. Thank you very, very much. I'm only getting better and better. Still practicing, of course. And I haven't been doing radio in a while. So this is me back and jumping in head first. And I also would have never thought I'd own my own radio station as well. So that's a new one. That's a new one for me. But if you guys hear any promos or anything, just know that I'm trying to get that figured out. I think there was a glitch in the system or something. So I have to call them and figure that out now. But make sure you guys follow our social medias. It's a big top thing. We're always posting TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. Not YouTube, Facebook. Sorry. And yeah, make sure you guys follow. We always put posters up of when we're going to be having a show, and it's just really fun. Now, this Friday, I have another country show for you. I had a country show last Friday, and now I'm having another one for you as well. So, I will be back on Friday at 5 p.m. EST for a country hit show, and it's called Saddle Up with Jordyn. So make sure that you guys are there, and let's jam out together. It's gonna be Friday. Duh, we love Fridays. But yeah, if you guys also have any feedback or any emails you would like to send me, my email is info@goldenskyradio.net. Again, info@goldenskyradio.net. More than welcome to email me. Also, for any song request, I do have to put them on the library if you just want to hear them. But if you want a song request with country, 80s, or anything, I can also, for the 80s and 90s wave, we can do requests on our stuff. So make sure to just email me and we will make sure to put that on there for you guys. So next time you'll be hearing the 80s and 90s wave is Friday at 7 p.m. EST. And thank you so much for tuning in with Real Talk with Jordyn tonight. And I hope that you guys have a great night. And thank you again for everything. And I will see you guys next Tuesday. Bye.